Aloha, everyone. I hope everyone has had a great beginning of the new work week. Maui and Hawaii overall is once again going to get slammed with one of its biggest swells it's seen in a decade, starting today, going into Thursday, continuing an amazing winter full of swells. Constant waves in Maui and constant waves in the stock market. The NASDAQ once again was up 0.67%, another all-time high, along with the Russell 2000 up 0.62%. Excellent intraday sessions for both the Russell and the NASDAQ, being able to come back off their intraday lows to such a positive degree, and with the NASDAQ and Russell 2000 actually closing higher from where they opened. The Dow Jones Industrial Average overall was kind of a laggard today, down 0.27%, but still nothing major whatsoever with volume lower than the day before. The S&P 500 also had a fractional day up 0.28%. However, despite the strength in the overall market, my scans were extremely mixed, to say it best. I had better short setups than I did long setups, and some of the short setups I want to go over that might be actionable in a bearish market include CSH, WABC, kind of memorize those patterns if you will. Those always make for good patterns. INUV would also be considered another one. NNVC would also be considered another one. Buffalo Wild Wings even could be considered one, even though that's a little too early for me. But the bottom line is there was some ugly action out there, and we do have 4 partial sells. FLT is not a full 100% sell, which it would be if we didn't have such a huge gain. We've been long this stock since September of 2012, which means that we still have a gain in this stock of over 135%. That means that we are definitely going to wait to the 200-day moving average before we cut our full loss. I want to remind everyone that this stock was a perfect long signal at the end of 2011, and we should be long from here, and that would give us with a total gain currently of 250%. However, 2012 was a mirror image of 2011, and stocks were choppy, which means we cut losses quicker, so we don't have it. But FLT, 50% loss, not a 100% loss. However, that's one to memorize for one day when it is. Also, Sturm Ruger, another vicious sell-off on heavy volume. Some people can go ahead and get rid of all of it, but man, it's still above the low a day of the signal date. I still have a small gain in it, and it's still above the 20-day moving average. So until it can close below that line, I don't want to sell all of it. It's also going to be a 50% sell. ONVO is closing below the 20-day moving average on very heavy volume. It looks like that it's trying to put in a triple top. More evident on this chart pattern with one high here in November, another high here in January, and another high in January. Possibly a reversal breakdown now below that 20-day moving average. So ONVO is a 25% sell. We'll increase it with the close below the 50-day moving average. And, eventually maybe we'll get a full sell signal. DDD is also 25% sell. Despite it still being above the intraday lows here, it is at a new closing low of that recent base low. And with that, with the heavier volume close and an increase in red bot below the 20-day moving average, that also too becomes a 25% sell. On the long side, we had one possible long position in Priceline. Priceline's too expensive for me. I am so low on cash that if I buy Priceline, I'm only going to end up with a few shares. 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe max right now with my cash on hand. It's about 5% of my account value, so I'm not interested in taking on Priceline here at all, but you might be, and it's an excellent breakout, and it's definitely a stock I would take, let's say, if I had 100% cash, because this is a very good pocket pivot point signal. 50-day moving average is right there. The one new long I am taking is an extended Stay America. Stay is starting to move off this nice base. As you can see, based on the intraday action, there is nothing but tails outside of these days and every other session. So tails all January long, tails all December long except for 2 days, and tails all November long. So a lot of bullish price action. Weekly chart is extremely bullish. Look at all these big, tall green bars. And with it moving off the lows of this base, the increase in volume lately, you can see on a Zoom 7, volume's really picked up after going really quiet. And Bob's increasing and a pocket pivot point buy signal. Despite it closing lower than where it opened, it's close enough that I want to go ahead and get long this stock. 2% in both accounts. It has some decent earnings and sales growth. Decent, not great, but some great things are expected for 2015. All right, everybody, and that is it. There is nothing else to do. I will see you on Thursday. Aloha.